What's going on, guys, and welcome back to F1 2021 My Team Career Mode for Season 2, Round 5, the Canadian Grand Prix. So we go into this race with a chassis upgrade has come through for the fuel tank, so that is good. We're going to put a lightweight wheel rims upgrade on the car too. We're also going to put an upgrade for the powertrain for the pistons on as well. We've got two durability upgrades that have come through for this race too, which is always good. We're also going to do the analysis suite facility upgrade for personnel, just to, get that a little bit better. We only have 2 slots to play with on the activities, so we're just going to do a podium celebration party from last time and just one other short thing. Looking at R&D, we're in the same place. Nobody's really moved since the last race. We're still sitting in 4th place on R&D behind Ferrari, just ahead of McLaren, but it is very, very tight at that top spot. So even though there's actually not a very big gap between Mercedes, Red Bull and all that either, so the top, honestly, we could be fighting for the top positions in the near future and possibly in this race. I'm going to go through and put the second lot of parts on for the engine as well, just so we'll start kind of using the first engine parts just for kind of practice, and then use some less worn ones for the races and qualifying. If you want to see my setup, this is my setup for this race. It's taken from TRL Limitless just like last time, but yeah, if you want to pause it at any time, have a little look, you can go ahead. So we go into Q1. Now this track is a track that I do quite like. It's actually one of my favourite tracks to drive on the game, but I'm not going to lie, I felt like I was struggling a bit. I mean, my pace seemed okay, but I did feel like I was struggling a little bit. Just, I don't know what it was, just really didn't feel like I was doing that great. The car felt a little bit understeery at points, but yeah, my Q1 lap was decent. I get it a bit too much over the curb through the wall of champions there, past the wall of champions, but it's a good run in Q1. It puts us in P11 after all that, so not that amazing, but we get through to Q2, no worries. Max Verstappen goes quickest in the Red Bull, so he's still showing pace. Of course, he started on pole for the last race in Baku, but came out of the race thanks to a mechanical failure. We then go on to Q2. It's looking a bit more gloomy in Q2. Now, there was no rain actually forecast for this whole event, so hoping it's going to stay dry. But yeah, it's definitely going into Q2 here. It looks a little bit kind of dreary and not that great. This lap though in Q2 was a much better lap than my Q1 lap. It was a really nailed on lap. I felt like I did this one so much better, and it actually put me in P3 for Q2. So we get through to Q3, and Fernando Alonso also gets through in P10, so it is the first time both cars have got through to Q3. So that is very exciting indeed. Let's see what we can do, but as you can see, we would get rain in Q3. So it wasn't actually forecast that there was going to be rain. It was like a 40% chance of rain going into with qualifying, and it stayed dry for Q1 and Q2, but Q3 we did get some rain. It was into running. I did a couple of laps, well, one flying lap I think, when I first went out, because I thought the track was going to get worse, but people were putting in better lap times later on in the session. Even though the chance of rain and the track temperature was going down, people were still going quicker, so I ended up going out for just one last quick run, and that is this run here. Although of course it's not my best lap ever, because it's a wet track lap. I am just going to show you this one. I'm going to do it for the future. I'm just going to show you the lap that is the lap that goes towards my qualifying, I suppose. So you're seeing the full Q3 lap here, but yeah, the track definitely was a little bit better. I'm almost 2/10 up. I think I'm potentially over 2/10 up here on my last lap, but from the radar the track was supposedly getting worse. So yeah, don't really know what that was all about, but I do end up finishing my lap off. It was not a particularly great lap, I'm gonna be honest. I had much more pace in the dry than I do in the wet. So that lap time ends up putting us in P9 with Alonso P10. We're literally split by the smallest margins. Lando Norris goes pole, Max Verstappen second, so it's the same front row as last race, but roles are reversed. So let's see what happens.
Bonjour! It's time once again to go racing here in Montreal, the second largest French-speaking city in the world, and home since 1978 to the Canadian Grand Prix. With top speeds of around 210 miles per hour heading into the overtaking opportunity of turn 13, the 2.7 miles of the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve are some of the quickest on the Formula One calendar. There are 14 corners in total, with 60% of the lap taken at full throttle, and average lap speeds clock in at about 130 miles per hour. A warm welcome to Anthony Davidson, who's beside me in the commentary box today. Let's talk about Shaw. That was a great podium in the last race, so can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs, so it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday and will start from pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Sainz, Daniel Ricciardo and Giovinazzi, Leclerc, Shaw, Fernando Alonso and Pierre Gasly, Tsunoda, Ocon, George Russell and Lundgaard, Hamilton, Vettel, Valtteri Bottas and Kimi Raikkonen, Stroll, Latifi, Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Alright, so that is the starting grid. We actually move up a position to P8 because Lewis Hamilton takes a 10-place grid penalty starting all the way back in P15. But here we are, lights out and away we go for the Canadian Grand Prix. It is actually a pretty good start for us on Leclerc, but Alonso actually comes up alongside us, gives us a bit of a nudge, barges his way past, and we smack into the back of him. Just going to have a little look here to make sure we don't have any front wing damage. It looks like we don't, but yeah, Alonso kind of just barged his way past, and that's now meant that Gasly has managed to get up alongside us, but we just about fend him off. As you can see there, a little bit of wear on the gearbox there. We have got to use that for one more race though after this in France until we can switch it out for a new one without getting a penalty, so I'm just going to have to kind of put up with that. But yeah, Alonso really barging his way through at the start there. I mean, hopefully he's got good pace here, but I think that was a little bit too aggressive from our teammate, as we're now just trying to make sure we defend from Gasly behind, who's actually now not Gasly, it's actually Yuki Tsunoda behind now, who's managed to get past his teammate, and we're defending from him. We managed to just about do it as we all go through single file through the tight hairpin. There is yellow flag there, I think that's just for slow cars going through the hairpin. And we continue on here. It's all very single file, and we've just about started to spread out now. Hopefully we can start making a bit of a gap to the Alpha Tauris behind, because we should be quite a bit quicker than those guys. Tsunoda surprisingly the one on top at the moment, which is quite surprising, but yeah, not the greatest start from us. We've got a pretty decent launch off the line compared to Leclerc, but I think Alonso got an even better start. As we see on the replay here, you can just see him behind there getting up alongside me and barging his way past, but at the front it is a Red Bull sandwich for Lando Norris in the McLaren. He's got both Red Bulls either side of him, and Sergio Perez from third place on the grid manages to get himself up into the race lead. It's then Max Verstappen trying to get past Lando Norris. These guys had a bit of a battle in Baku, but both of them ended up out of the race thanks to mechanical failures. Verstappen's got the position there, but then a little bit just behind them we've got Carlos Sainz and Daniel Ricciardo battling for positions too. Ricciardo has for now come out of that one just about on top. The McLarens once again looking quite quick here, but the Ferraris are also quick too, and just like in the real life 2021 season, in this career mode of ours, McLaren and Ferrari are kind of fighting for kind of second and third at the moment in the championship, kind of also fighting with the Red Bull, with Mercedes quite a bit up the road. But Mercedes once again don't seem to be showing the best pace here, like they weren't showing the best pace in Baku last time out. They're also not doing great here. I mean, Hamilton only qualified 5th, but anyway, let's not talk about that because Nikita Mazepin is out of the session. We'll get back to that in a minute. There is a safety car out. Don't know what's happened there. My engineer is telling me that there's debris on the track, so the safety car is out, and that's awesome to see because we haven't had a safety car for a while, and it's going to be the Aston Martin safety car too. But let's have a look at a replay here. You can see Nikita Mazepin absolutely slams into the wall of champions. He just clips the curb there, puts his power down, and it's a bit glitchy, but he smacks himself into the wall. Watching from Mick Schumacher behind, look at him just smack into the wall, and that's a big impact into the wall. Nikita Mazepin out of the session on lap 3. And that's caused a lot of people to come into the pits. Fernando Alonso, I was going into the pits here thinking, right, I'm going to end up double stacking with Alonso, but I think it's still the way to go. But Alonso doesn't come into the pits, he's carrying on, which means that he is now in the race lead. We come in for our pit stop though, so I guess good for us in a way because we don't get compromised getting stuck behind Alonso in the pit box. But it does mean that Alonso is now leading the race with the brand new Aston Martin safety car up ahead of him. I really do like the safety car, I think it looks so cool, it's awesome to see it in the game. The two AlphaTauris as well, second and third place, neither of those guys decided to come in, probably because they started outside the top 10 and they are, I presume, on mediums, I would imagine. I think so, I can't really see from here, but Alonso's on the softs because he qualified in the top 10, but he doesn't come into the pits, so that could bite him in the butt, but it does actually help us out as the safety car comes in at the end of lap 6 and we're getting ready to go. It's a bit of a scary place to go here, going through the Wall of Champions chicane, and we don't get the best run off the start. We've got Antonio Giovinazzi in the Mercedes behind us. He's trying to make ways through the field and we're just kind of here behind Perez. But looking up the road just ahead of us actually, Carlos Sainz making his way through the field after coming in for his pit stop under the safety car. He's got past Mick Schumacher, and now Sergio Perez is going to try and do the exact same thing, going round the outside of the hairpin. It's actually a pretty decent line because you get round the outside and you get a very good run off the hairpin down the front, back, whatever we want to call it, straight, and he's got the position, and now we have got the position on Mick Schumacher as well. So poor Schumacher lost 3 positions there thanks to us all, coming into the pits under the safety car and having to make our way back through. We then, a little bit further on, have another battle here. Lando Norris trying to make his way past Nicholas Latifi once again round the outside of the hairpin. It is actually quite a conventional line. It's a good thing to do, and he gets that position. Then Carlos Sainz is coming through. He wants to get past Nicholas Latifi as well. They're alongside, side by side, going down the straight to the Wall of Champions. He's still there, but just about managed to back out. And Carlos Sainz gets that position from Latifi, who's not come into the pits just yet. And now Sergio Perez is the next one behind. These guys were all just kind of picking everybody off. We are technically the top 4 here on track. Norris, Sainz, Perez, and myself. So yeah, this is basically the fight for the lead here. As now Perez has got past Latifi, but now I want to make my way past. I squeeze my car at the inside. He gives me the room, but he then bounces over the curb on the exit and bumps into us, which is a little bit unfortunate. Makes contact, but thankfully there is no damage done, as now it's a drag race down to the next corner. We just about managed to get it, and I believe that's Giovinazzi also getting Latifi on that same part of track there. There's a lot going on here because there's quicker cars trying to make their way through the slower cars who have come in for their pit stops. And speaking of pit stops, Alonso has now come in for his stop. I don't know what sort of tyres he's on. I didn't quite see. If he's onto mediums, I think that's not great because, can he go on hards to the end of the race? I don't really know. But yeah, I do generally think he should have come in when we came in, although it's helped us out as we get very close to the back of the Alfa Romeo of Kimi Raikkonen. We had a great battle with him last season, but this time we've got a much quicker car, and we're going to try going round the outside of the hairpin. We squeeze our way through, give him the space, he gives us the space, but we do it, and we do a great little move. See, it's just such an easy move to do, and it gives you such a great run out of the hairpin and down the straight. So we are now past Raikkonen, and Giovinazzi's managed to make his way through as well behind. So he's following his way through, but he has got a fair bit of a gap back. But now we are the legitimate top 4. Lando Norris leads the race, Carlos Sainz in second, Sergio Perez third, and myself in fourth. This is a battle for the lead. We are battling for the lead of the race right now. Norris is managing to just about keep himself up front there with the pole position that he started the race in. Carlos Sainz doing a very good job, I might say, and Perez as well also doing very good. I'm not quite sure what happened with Verstappen. I mean, he was fighting up there with Perez and Norris, but he's completely dropped off the pace now. I think he might be at the bottom or even outside the top 10, so I don't know what's going on with Verstappen. Things just really not going his way, as on lap 15 we get right up the back of Sergio Perez, and now we're going to have the DRS going down the straight. We are very, very close. He's also got the DRS from Sainz up ahead, but we're deploying all the ERS. We're getting the slipstream. We're getting right behind him, making him go defensive. We go for a move around the outside, but he just plants it through the wall of champions and gets a great run, but that gives us a really good run out of the corner. And as we go into turn 1, we're going too wide with the Mexican. I give him the room, he goes over the curb a little bit. I'm just squeezing my way in. Very clean, good racing between us two here, but I just can't quite do it. But we're right up the back of him, so close. I back out a little bit into here because I don't want to end up in the rear of him, but we get such a good run through the corner that it's all just far too scary, far too close, but we can't quite do anything just yet. And then I unfortunately get a little bit of oversteer on the curb out of that corner. That ruins our chances at getting him into there, but then we get this.
Okay, there appears to be an issue. We're currently investigating.
That's not what we want to hear. However, we have, just as that happened, made the overtake on Sergio Perez. We've made it happen this time, got it done sooner. He also doesn't have the DRS from Carlos Sainz, because with us fighting, Norris and Sainz have made quite a gap up ahead of us, but we are now up into 3rd place. We're in the podium positions. Perez is not gonna let it go though, as we get a little bit of oversteer out of turn 2, I guess that is.
It looks like a mechanical failure. We're gonna have to ask you to find a safe spot to retire. Sorry about that.
But it doesn't matter anyway, because our engine's gone up in smoke and we are out of the Canadian Grand Prix. We were fighting for a podium. We were fighting for a potential race win if we could catch up to Norris and Sainz up ahead, but it's not to be. I knew this was coming eventually. Of course, as soon as I put brand new components in my car, it goes
What a
kaput.
fantastic Grand Prix that was, and an excellent win for McLaren. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Without a doubt, the safety car changed everything today. The key to their success was keeping calm and reacting to the situation quickly. We've seen teams in the past throw away wins because they were too hesitant, but here they were decisive, and that's allowed them to take the advantage.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure, and no doubt they'll be celebrating tonight.
So there you go, Lando Norris wins the Canadian Grand Prix. Carlos Sainz hangs on in 2nd place but can't quite take the victory. But it's Daniel Ricciardo who ends up on the podium in 3rd place, obviously manages to make his way past Sergio Perez throughout the race. So it's a double podium for McLaren. They were looking like they were going to have a 1-2 finish in Baku last time out, but unfortunately didn't work out for Norris, and then Ricciardo got overtaken by Perez. But it is a double podium for them this time. However, it's 1 and 3, not 1-2. We end up in P20 thanks to our DNF. Looks like Verstappen also DNF'd out of the race. Don't know why. Can't quite find that out. But yeah, Verstappen 2 DNFs in a row. He's not having a good time. And we unfortunately moved down to 11th. Fernando Alonso finished in P7. He is still sitting in P13 in the Drivers' Championship. Just, what is that, 3 points adrift of us now on 16 points to my 19. So Alonso definitely closing the gap on me a bit there. But yeah, we sit 6th in the Constructors, and McLaren are now 2nd. However, they are joint points with Ferrari in 3rd. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.